Hello again, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of the high school football season here on Altoona YouTube channel for high school football. Joined again by Mike Boytim, all things high school football in the area. My name is Scott Franco, and last week, before we get into our games, we asked our viewers to send us in some masks this year. Last year we did the cups, and this year we asked for masks, and right off the bat, we had one mailed to us on Tuesday, I believe, and then we got some from another school on Wednesday. Mike, you want to show us the first ones we got?
Alright, we got Claysburg Kimmel. They sent us the mask and the gator.
And they gave us 2 masks and a gator.
We'll put them on the display here.
In our production value, we're hoping to get something made for us. In fact, I'm asking if there's any woodshop teachers out there who are watching us who can build us a contraption that we can hang our masks and our gators on. We greatly appreciate it. And then this comes to us from Hollidaysburg. We got a golden tiger white one, and then I guess we got, this is the away one, and then we got the blue one for home. So we're going to hang one here, and we're going to hang the other, probably, we'll just hang right there with it so we can get to our show. So if you want to mail to us, again, our address here at the Mirror is Altoona Mirror, Care Sports Department, 301 Cayuga Avenue, Cayuga, Altoona, PA 16602. And now we're going to get right to our games. We got 5 games Mike wants us to look at this week. The first one is a big one. Both teams won last week. Tyrone at Clearfield. What can you tell us about this game?
Well, John Franco, your brother.
I'm not allowed to pick this game, but I already did in there anyways. Yeah.
He thinks Clearfield and Belfast are the 2 best teams in the Mountain League, and they already beat Belfast. But he says it's a big, a lot different challenge than Belfast. He thought with Belfast, they were real big, and that was the challenge. Against Clearfield, he's worried about the skill guys and the speed. They have a lot of talent. They did lose to Belfast last year in the district championship, but it's up there. It's at Clearfield. And Tyrone is just making its way back. I mean, hey, a lot of people in Tyrone are excited right now, but this team did go 2-8 last year. So they got to make sure they don't get too overconfident, and that's what your brother was a little bit worried about, because he's like, okay, now we've experienced success, let's see how we deal with the success.
And also, he had talking to John a couple days ago, he was telling me about it too. He was so worried about how they would handle just competing, and they fumbled the first ball. The first play of the game, they fumbled, but they bounced back. And the Clearfield score last year was pretty bad over Tyrone, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and he was upset that they didn't compete.
Yeah, and has any of these Tyrone teams even beaten, any of these kids even beaten Clearfield? I wonder, even at the junior high level.
They have not beaten Clearfield since 2009.
Nice, and yeah, as long as they don't get overconfident. But yeah, John said the same thing to me. Clearfield's skill position people are exceptional, and he thought Belfast had a better offensive line. In fact, he thinks Belfast might be the best offensive line he'll face all year. Our second game is Central at Belfast. There's Belfast trying to bounce back at home. Central going on the road again, I believe.
Staying in Center County.
Yeah, staying in Center. Did they just get placed up there to stay, do you think?
Maybe.
And they just stayed somewhere in State College. I guess there's nobody else playing football up there right now. So, but anyways, Central at Belfast. If you look in your stats in the Mirror, you'll see in the paper Thursday morning, we have the passing leaders. Jeff Hosan had a nice game for Central
last game,
last week.
Over 200 yards. He had 3 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers.
And he only had 1 pick, right?
He did throw the interception.
That's a great ratio.
It's going to be another situation where they might be throwing the ball a lot, and you know what? That was successful for Tyrone against Belfast with Damon Grip having the 2 touchdown catches. So maybe Central is able to throw the ball. I picked Central in that game. I think that Central was a really young team last year, and it seems like that they have, carried that momentum. They've had freshmen come onto the team this year that are making an impact, and I just think that Central could be a surprise team in the Mountain League this year.
See, now, and I picked Belfast because of the bounce back and then being at home. But I love Dave Baker. I love AJ Parker Gregg, one of my favorite names for a running back. But I just think if that were at Central, I might take Central. But I just, they win, good for them. But our third game, I was at the Hollidaysburg game last week against Baldwin. Musselman's coming in from West Virginia. Musselman, there are 3 divisions in high school football in West Virginia, 1, 2, and 3A. Musselman's 3A. They were 9-3 last year. Their first 2 games, they won 49-6, and I think they lost something like 55-20. And I know they run this veer offense, everything close to the line. Their best player is a running back who's going to Lehigh, I believe, on a scholarship in Hollidaysburg, and I love them. Nobody's, my sons play for that team, but that was a horrible first half they experienced last week. But you know what? They came back second half, didn't give up any points, and Baldwin still had their starters in, and they even managed a touchdown. And I'm sure what Homer told you the same thing. They just got to eliminate the turnovers.
Well, Hollidaysburg should have more offense this week because last week Blake Hartman, the big running back for Musselman, he ran for 270 yards and 5 touchdowns, but Musselman got hammered. So, their offense is going to be significant. It's going to be a tough challenge for Hollidaysburg, but they can give up points, and with Bryce Marlacci and Jake McGinnis. I know Jake McGinnis struggled a little bit last week, but he can maybe get rolling, and Hollidaysburg should be able to put more than 7 points on the board. And Homer was upset with some of the mistakes that the team made. He said they were characteristic.
Jeez, there you go.
But he doesn't expect them to make those mistakes again because he said this is a veteran team, and he's expecting big improvement this week, so we'll see what happens.
I'm curious to see this offense because it's a run-oriented offense, and if they see how Baldwin passed on Hollidaysburg last week, I'm curious to see how much they're willing to try that. Our next game we're going to is Northern Bedford at Glendale. Glendale's coming off the win. Northern Bedford coming off that loss to Bellwood. Glendale under one of my favorite named coaches, Spank Trexler. Last year, Glendale got beat up pretty good up there at Northern Bedford. Glendale's home. Don't know if Glendale has the studs they had last year, but they have some football players on that team. What do you expect from this game?
Well, I'll tell you what. What Glendale had last year was a lot of power, and they had good defense. They had a power running game and good defense. But one thing that Spank Trexler really thought they could do more of is take advantage of their quarterback throwing to Bane Sealhammer. The kid caught 9 passes last week for 149 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was the top performance in the Mirrors coverage area. 9 catches. Maybe Glendale's a different team this year, and that's what Spank said to me when we were talking at ICC Media Day. He goes, I'm going to coach to the strength of my players, and this year maybe their strengths are to pass the ball a little bit more. And hey, it could be a completely different game this time. But you got to think Northern Bedford's got to be upset after that Bellwood game. They were right in that game, 14-13, and then it just got away from them. So Northern Bedford's a veteran team. They have a lot of skilled players, and I think they're going to be trying to bounce back in a big way up in Flinton.
And our last game we're going to look at is Bedford at Richland, Laurel Highlands, big game. In Richland, they opened up with BG, and then now they're playing Bedford, and right there's 3 of the top teams in the Laurel Highlands, and Richland's had to place both of them. I listened to that game on the radio last week, the whole game, and BG had them in the first half, and then I don't know what Coach Bailey said at halftime because second half, Richland came out, went right down the field, ended up outscoring them 19-0. How good? Bedford 28-0. You were at that game, correct?
No, that was John.
Okay,
But Bedford only gave up 1 touchdown to Chestnut Ridge.
Was it late?
And it was a close game. I was expecting a close game, and I was surprised, honestly, that Bedford handled Chestnut Ridge that well. And that made, when you see our picks in the Fearless Forecast, now everyone picked Richland in this game. But I don't know about you, but I thought, I don't know. So even when it's a full sweep like that, sometimes it's a lot closer than it looks. And this was, for me, a toss-up game because, hey, Bedford really handled Chestnut Ridge, and I expected that to be about a toss-up game. So, yeah, Bedford might give Richland a game, and they could win. I think it's really interesting to see who wins this one.
Without jinxing Richland, if they come out of here 2-0, I got to think who else is hard on their schedule. I don't want to offend any of the other teams in the Laurel Highlands, But you're talking about beating Bedford and BG to start your
They would
season.
certainly be in the driver's
See
seat.
the rest of the way. That'll be it for our games
Hey,
for this week.
And just a shout out to Claysburg.
Oh.
You know, they sent us the stuff and everything. They got Tussey Mountain this week, and
And
you
they're
know,
coming off a win, right? Claysburg?
yeah, both teams 1-0, and good luck to the Bulldogs this week. Just wanted to thank you for sending your mask and your gator.
And Mike and I are going to fight over to see who is. I'm afraid the size of my head will ruin that, so I might just let Mike wear it. But if anybody, like, I would surely like to wear a Bishop Guilfoyle gator or a Tyrone gator, or I'd take one from maybe Penn Cambria. I think that would look nice with a lot of the outfits that I wear to work here. But for Mike Boytim, my name's Scott Franco. Thanks for watching, and we hope you tune in again next week.